Hey everyone, this is Steve Weintraub with Collider, and I am here at Comic-Con with the fine folks behind the new version of Hellboy. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great.
Excellent.
So a million questions, but I like throwing some fun stuff at the beginning. I'm going to start with you at the end. I like doing just you. So what is it like walking around a con like this after being on like Yellowstone, which everyone has watched? Do you know what I mean?
It's amazing. It's so fun because it's also cool to see where the following of Yellowstone intersects with this. Because I think Yellowstone isn't necessarily a Comic-Con style show, but it's so fun to see the intersections. It's so fun to be approached by someone in a Star Wars shirt who also watches Yellowstone. It's really cool.
I just want to do one more follow-up. When did you realize, oh wait, this is actually very, very popular?
It started every time we head out to like Texas or Montana, you know, because the audience of the show is really heavily in the western states. So walking through the airport at Dallas-Fort Worth, I think was when I first realized, oh wow, this is a really, really popular show. And that's such a miracle, and I'm so grateful for it.
I'm going to move down the line. Right. Sabrina, a show that will cross over with Comic-Con. What is it like for you? Do you know what I mean? Because that show is also another thing that, especially here.
Yes, I feel like I've done a couple of projects that have kind of like been in this world, like Resident Evil, Sabrina, Mortal Kombat, and it's like it's all in this world, so it's actually really fun. It's my first time at Comic-Con, so it's just fun getting introduced to it.
I'm now going to jump into why you guys are here, if you don't mind. So talk a little bit about like, this is one of those things where I think people are wondering what's different about this version than the ones that they've seen before. So, Brian, how do you want to say it?
Well, I mean, it's completely different. And the way that it's different is we didn't go into this referencing any of the other movies. We went into it referencing absolutely one thing, and that is the original Mike Mignola comic book. We wanted to take The Crooked Man and adapt it faithfully. And that means it's a period piece. It's a younger Hellboy. It has no relation to the other films, and it's sort of that much loved by myself and many fans, sort of folk horror, almost procedural kind of Hellboy, where he's the wandering night stalker, where he'll end up in your town for some reason. You've got a haunting, you've got some problems with dark forces, and he's a plumber and he's going to solve it for you. That's kind of the Hellboy that we really like, you know. So it's like. My approach was to have an audience of one. If Mike likes this, if Mike Mignola feels like this is his Hellboy, then I feel like we succeeded.
I definitely have to ask you, what is it like getting the call from Brian being like, hey, you're going to be the guy? You know what I mean? And then what is it like when you're doing makeup tests and those first tests with the, you know what I mean?
I do.
Yeah, but it's a two-parter because it's like, you know, it's one thing to get the call and it's another thing to be like, oh, I have to do this every day.
You know, it's funny, I was just sharing the story. I was dropping a friend off at Detroit Airport, and I was driving through a section of Detroit, that's where I live, Inkster, and I got a phone call from, I don't remember who it was, one of the producers, I think. And it said, how do you feel about playing Hellboy? And it came totally out of left field, and, you know, I pulled over my car, and I was like, what do I have to do? You know, and we jumped through some hoops, and I'm glad Brian ticked off on it, and it was totally exciting. I mean, I was excited. I couldn't believe it.
And let's talk about the first time you realized what you were going to have to do to be in costume.
I had a little bit of anxiety because I've done a little bit of a version of prosthetics before, and I know what it takes. I didn't know what was in store, but you know, I was excited. I was ready for it, whatever it took. You know, I mean, I love Hellboy, so to be a part of a rendition of Hellboy was very exciting.
So for both of you, I'm curious, for fans that don't know the comic, don't know your characters, how do you guys want to talk about your characters? I know it's a little generic, but the movie's not out yet.
Maybe mine's shorter because mine's actually not in this comic, specifically in The Crooked Man in this edition. She is a new creation, which I believe Mike was heavily behind creating. So she's a BPRD agent, of course lives in this world, and follows Hellboy on this journey. She's, you know, young, curious, maybe a little naive, brave, and kind of, goes through her own journey while going on this field work trip.
Yeah, and Tom was as soon as I read the book, one of the first things I did when I first heard about this project was read the book, was something that I really, one thing that I love is when you experience this world for the first time alongside this character. So Tom is a pretty normal guy who basically stumbles in to all of this crazy, inexplicable witchery and crazy sort of paranormal phenomena, you know? And at a young age, he sort of intersects with this world, with the world of witches, this sort of folk horror, Appalachian, terrifying underbelly. And then he spends the rest of his life trying to get out of it, it feels like. And happily encounters Hellboy and Bobby Joe that sort of give him a way out of this nightmare that he stumbled into. And that's such a cool thing as an actor, because you're sort of experiencing this terrifying shit alongside the character, you know? Like, my first time encountering these characters is also the character's first time encountering them. It's such a gift as an actor. It's a very immersive experience.
So for all of you, you see the shooting schedule in front of you. I know you don't have a lot of time to make it. What's the day that you are like, I cannot wait to film this? And what's the day you're like, how the F are we going to film this?
Day one is the answer to both questions.
Okay.
Yeah, no, there was definitely like, this production it was a rough one. It was a rough one because we were really under the gun. We were very ambitious what we wanted to do, and we were doing it on a very tight indie schedule with a lot of limitations, but we were very ambitious what we wanted to be. And we really wanted to do justice to this comic book. We wanted to do justice to all these things. We wanted to use a lot of physical effects and practical effects because it just felt more organic to the world, you know? This is not a world of CGI. You know, obviously we're using some CGI, but we wanted to really sort of like hang our hat on practical. We wanted to hang our hat on it being sort of like, it's a weird thing to say for a character with sawed-off devil horns and a tail that I had to deal with in every shot.
Yep.
But we wanted to feel a little bit more grounded, right? So the creatures, the monsters, they're all based on real animals. You know, it's not like a purple space creature with 25 eyes. It's a snake. It's a spider. It's a crow. They may be different size than the ones that we normally see, but that's what we wanted it to be. Everyone wanted to feel sort of this world, right? So it was ambitious, which is easier to say than to execute.
Sure.
So, so it was very ambitious, and we kind of knew from day one, we had it was very quick prep, and we landed on day one and started shooting. It took us about 10 seconds to realize, we're really... You can bleep it later. Dude, fuck, we are fucked, and we're really fucking in for it. And
welcome to movie making, everyone.
Thank you. And but it was a lot of fun. These guys were warriors, like all three of them and the ones who weren't here. I mean, the cast was like, they were up for anything, and it's the only way we were able to get through it.
If I'm going to switch the question for all three of you, what ended up being the toughest shot or sequence in the movie with the limitations that were in front of you as an actor?
I have to have 10 seconds to think about it, because honestly, like Brian said, it was just go time from day one to the last day. I mean, I worked every day. There was no days off for me. First one there, last one to leave. I probably shouldn't say this, but when we wrapped, I burst into tears. I was so exhausted. It was a lot.
I thought you were just acting.
No. It was awesome. It was tears of joy. But I think it was just... the toughest one, maybe getting my head through the wall up towards the end, through drywall a couple times.
I mean, for him, everything was hard. Yeah. Because just spending the 4 hours in the morning, I don't think I've worked with...
the drywall,
I've worked with characters who were wearing a lot of prosthetics before, but never this much and never every single day. I didn't really realize how impactful it is on an actor. I mean, he would have sweat accumulating in this suit that you could just pour out and fill a bucket by the end of the day. And this was every single day. And he's got we wanted a performance from all of these actors. We wanted like real performances, nuance and emotion and soul and gravity. And we wanted that, and to be able to do that with everything that he was dealing with was like, it was hard. I feel like every day was hard for you.
But it was awesome.
I'm really looking forward to seeing. I obviously haven't seen it yet. I am looking forward to seeing it.
I haven't seen it either.
Yeah. Well, there we go. For you guys.
There was some incredible. There's also like in the book and in the script when I first read it, there are some incredible action sequences and those days in the church when the shit hits the fan. And it's kind of Brian. I think is an incredible. I've been a fan of Brian's for years, and I think he is like
Don't tell him
a
that.
true like action auteur. Like I think nobody moves the camera or shoots action the way you do. And so that was something I was extremely excited about from the beginning. And there's this insane sequence in a church where bad guys are coming from every direction. There's some magic happening. Like there's everybody's there. Like the entire cast is there. There's some really, really exciting action sequences. And those are like very challenging as an actor because it's also Brian shot a lot of this movie on these really wide lenses. So there's kind of nowhere to hide. And these action scenes are playing out in real time with practical effects, with stuff exploding, amazing stunt performers flying all over the place. Those sequences were really, really exciting and also challenging because then doing that over and over again for days and days. I think we did 4 days or 5 days in that church. Exhausting and thrilling in equal parts, you know?
By the way, when I'm busting Brian's balls like that, it's because we've known each other for a long time. You know, just
How long ago did you guys meet?
well, first he propositioned me on Ventura Boulevard, and I said, "Listen, I'm joking. I'm just trying."
No, go ahead. Finish the story.
No, you know, the truth is, I was on set for Crank High Voltage, and I'll always remember it because.
See, even I forgot that.
Oh no, I remember I went down there, and what was crazy about it was that normally when there is like explosions and gunfire, like a journalist is not on set. So I'm in the strip club. Half-naked people.
You were at the strip club?
Yeah, half-naked people.
That was
and
a
they were
good
like,
day.
Go.
you need to stay behind here, and all these squibs are blowing up, and like things are blowing up, and I'm like, how are they letting me on set today? It was like,
We didn't know any better.
well, I know, but that's Brian. You know, the Neville Dean Taylor extravaganza.
That was a fun day at the office.
You know. So anyway, yeah, I don't know from maybe before. I don't know if it was before that. I don't know, but it's
That's
been a
incredible. So that's like, what is that, 15 years?
It's getting up there.
Yeah, it's been a while. That's the reason I can bust his balls. You know what I mean?
That's amazing. You earned it. You earned the right.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so sorry I interrupted what I want.
No.
Yeah, so I was asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
My heart, right. So I would say maybe the hardest, or the thing that I was most intimidated by is there's a sequence in the mines that we have. And it's kind of where Bobby's a little bit on her own. So acting on your own can be a little strange. You know, it's always fun acting off of someone else and you're kind of taking from their energy. But it's probably one of my favorite sequences that I got to share with Brian. And I feel like we had a really wonderful day on set that day, just the two of us kind of getting into it.
Might be my favorite sequence in the movie.
Maybe. Thank you. But it was such a fantastic day. But I was intimidated by it, and it was also the first week. I was like, fantastic. So we're getting that out of the way, and then I get to
And
have
you
fun.
never know with an actor. It's our first time working together.
Yeah.
And you take one look at her and you're like, wow. Well, I hope she's up for the dirty stuff. You know what I mean? Because you never know.
Sure.
And this role required her to really go there and let it rip. And you won't believe the emotion and just the intensity for a first week thing that she gathers for this performance. I mean, she's ripping the paint off the walls, and you know immediately it's like, whew, okay, we got a good one here. This is going to work.
And so,
Thank you.
What's fun? A number of years ago, I interviewed Donald Sutherland, and he said that it's in his contract that he only will shoot stuff on his first few days from the middle of the movie or the middle of the project, because that way people by then have bought into his performance,
Yes.
and whatever he's doing is going to work. Because he doesn't want to, you know what I mean? And I'm like, that is ingenious, and
Yeah.
only someone who is named Donald Sutherland can pull off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who has that kind of juice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something to strive for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, as the... Anyway.
Yeah.
So we're at Comic-Con, and I obviously love learning about what people collect. If you have any time to go on the convention floor, I don't know if you do or don't, what is the kind of thing you'd be looking for in terms of things you'd want to take home?
A mini Hellboy. If we can find a Hellboy, yeah.
Strange, unheard of comic books.
Ooh.
Are you a comic book guy?
My wife is, but I take a look.
I really love House of the Dragon. I'm a big sort of Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin fan. And so walking around, those are some of my favorite cosplays I've seen. And that's some of the stuff that I'm excited to see while we're here.
Have you actually been on the floor yet?
No.
Have you? You've never been to Comic-Con?
I
Yeah.
have once.
So I would strongly suggest go walking on the convention floor.
Yeah.
I really would suggest it. It is the best convention floor of any Comic-Con I've ever been to. This is the Mecca. This is the one because it has like the Hollywood things, but also a lot of indie dealers and Artist Alley and like it has everything. And it's just really cool and it's really worth it. Like if you can spend just to walk around.
Do you have an answer? Do you have a favorite thing?
No, actually.
Are you allowed to? Or, yeah, do you have to be political about this?
No, I
or
don't
can
care.
you have a
I
personal
don't
favorite?
fuck-
What's your
fuck
personal
that.
favorite?
So every year I walk on the floor before it opens because I'm lucky and I just want to see there's always one obnoxious item, something that I'm like, oh my God. And this year, a company called ECC made and I can show you a picture on my phone. It is a life-size that T-Rex head from Jurassic Park. It's literally the life-size head, and it cuts in the back. They're making 49 of them. They're $18,500, and it is a jaw-dropping collectible to the point where everyone stops and takes pictures. It is insane.
So this is like as big as a minivan or something.
It's monstrous. But okay, wait, you know something? I don't know if it's an actual life-size, it might be slightly less scale, but it's massive. It's massive. I'll show you on the phone, but
Do we know how many have been sold?
no, it hasn't come out yet. They
it
just
hasn't come
premiered
out
it
yet.
here.
So that goes right in the bedroom, right?
Right.
Yeah.
If I was rich and had a huge house, I would buy one. But I don't have a huge house and I'm not rich, so I won't be owning one. But this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So you obviously talk a little bit about editing this movie and what were some of the you get in, you see your assembly cut. Do you jump through the window or are you like, oh, okay, I got this?
Oh, you always jump through the window. Every movie, all the time, you jump through the window. I mean, there's a story about Polanski going to the first screening of Chinatown. His first sort of rough cut of Chinatown. He said he wanted to walk into traffic. It's the worst movie ever made. He's like, my career's done, and I've never made anything like Chinatown. You know what I mean? So it's like I have that sort of semi-suicidal feeling every time I watch the rough cut. But then you just get in there and you start bashing out and you realize, it was such chaos for such sort of this concentrated and intense period of time that you almost can't even breathe. You really don't know what you have. And so it's kind of cool to go in and go like, man, that was gold. Look at that. I didn't even know we had that. Oh, that's great. That really worked. That really worked. And, man, that didn't really work at all. I wonder if we can get around that one. But we have something else that works even better, so it's fun. Editing is it's just a really fun part of the process. And it's kind of when all this stuff that you hoped worked, you get to find out if it really did or not.
No, totally. I am someone who would be a kleptomaniac on set and be borrowing whatever I can. Hypothetically, I would return it, just not anytime in the next few years. So when you were on set or before you left, did you hypothetically borrow something that you have every intention of returning?
I think I took a little shard of wood from the church. There was a lot of in this insane fight sequence. There was dust going everywhere, splinters, and I have a little piece. I think I would theoretically have taken a little piece.
This is nothing.
If I could get it back through customs.
What happened to Hellboy's hand?
I wanted it, but I never got it.
I wanted the tail. I really loved it. I thought it was so cute.
If I got that tail, I would have burned it.
Do you? No.
I took a Hellboy lighter, and I gave it to my neighbor. Because he's a huge Hellboy fan.
That must be.
And then I moved.
I did take one of Tom's jackets.
They're kind of stylish.
Very nice.
I was gonna
It's a very
say, they're
nice
very
jacket.
Bushwick. Very Bushwick. Yeah.
I always try to abscond with a jacket from the wardrobe.
Wait, so did you try to get the hand? What happened?
It was told that I can have it. I just never followed up. I kind of gave up. But I might go look for it again.
Yeah.
Well, one thing we did in this one is again, in sort of the push to do everything more practical, is in past movies they've CG animated that hand, so it would articulate properly. We didn't do that. We actually made an articulated hand. So we kind of went old school, and he uses a real hand in the movie. in every shot.
I would definitely follow up on the hand.
I would love
Yeah,
that.
and I also think about the fact that there's a lot of collectors of movie memorabilia. So there's also the element of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm thinking about it from multiple ways. My collection, if I ever want to get rid of it.
You should have kept the horns.
If you get to make another one, these are things you need to be thinking about. What can I borrow each day that they will not notice? Like the hand. I'm just joking around.
No, it's good stuff.
You know, okay, listen, I have more interviews to do today, and also, like, I can't, I want to see the movie and then talk about, you know what I mean?
Sure.
There's only so much we can do before I've seen it. So I'm just going to say, wait, do you know when it's coming out? Do you have any idea?
Did they tell you guys fall?
Just
right?
fall.
Fall. Sometime fall.
Okay.
September, I think.
Okay.
But I don't have an exact date.
Well, look for it in the fall, because that's all I can say. I really do hope you guys get to walk around the convention floor, sincerely. Thank you so much for stopping in, and have a great con.
Thank
Thanks, man.
you.
Thanks so much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
so much.